What's up, guys? I watched Black Mirror, all of it, all 6 seasons. I have been watching every single season once it came out, and this one was not different. This is season 6. I watched it a couple of days ago, and I should have made a video as soon as I finished watching it, but I don't know. I kind of let it marinate and think about what I was gonna say, and here's the thing. Black Mirror started off very good. I think the first episode was very good, which is Joan is awful. And I think the plot twist was amazing. By the way, guys, this is a spoiler review, okay? So if you don't want any spoilers, I'm sorry. You can, watch another video or go watch the Black Mirror episodes. What I'm going to do is I'm going to talk about the episodes in sequence, that the ones I watched it. And then you can decide if you want to skip or, keep watching, or like, oh, I haven't watched the full season yet. So just watch the ones that, are spoiler free for you guys. So number 1, Joan is awful. That was a good start. That was a good thing. They added Annie Murphy. They added Selma Hayek. I think they did a good job with the casting because, they they had good chemistry there. The whole premise of the episode is kind of like terms and conditions, and the whole idea behind people not reading terms and conditions and privacy being something so scarce nowadays is very, very intriguing. And in fact, there's a new term that is going to be very popular in a few months, maybe a few years, which is called mental privacy. I saw a video a few days ago talking about how we have computers now that can read your mind based on your brainwave activity. They can actually take the brainwave activity from your mind. Granted, you need to have like a helmet, and they had to like get all that information from you, but they can now examine that mental wave and literally paint it into a picture. So if I'm watching something, it can actually text what I'm watching, and also if I am looking at something, it can paint you a picture of what you're looking at. So it's basically mind reading. And in that video they talked about mental privacy. So this is insane. We are living a crazy time of artificial intelligence and whatever. Quantum computers are coming soon also. So all that put together will be insane. And the thing I liked about this episode is that at first I was like, nah, this can't happen, but then they explained that what Joan was watching is a compilation of her story captured by all the microphones in her house, all the cameras in her house, maybe. And it was deep faked and streamed. And they explained in the episode that this is only possible because of deepfake technology, quantum computers, yada yada yada. And that was very convincing, because if you go on Chat GPT right now and you tell Chat to write a script, it will do it in less than 10 seconds. Literally, it will start writing a script and you'll have a script in less than 10 seconds. So this is kind of like possible to do nowadays, but not to the extent of what Black Mirror is showing. But the thing about Black Mirror is that it's a dystopian future, and it's something that may someday happen. And the thing about Black Mirror that I really like is that it exaggerates a little bit, but it has some plausible explanation that may come to life in a near future. So it kind of like explains how things may happen. And in the first season, and the beginning of Black Mirror, we saw a few things like social media and stuff like that really tickled our pickle, if that's the expression. But it was very interesting to see how that actually came to play. So it kind of felt like we were looking into the future. So when I watched Joan is Awful, it what stood out to me was the whole idea of terms and conditions that we normally don't read, we just accept it. And the fact that she accepted that she can share her whole life in the format of a series is totally incredible, because it was very intelligent the way they did it. The deep fake explanation, the the quantum computer generating scenes from what was happening. So I think that would be very possible in the future. I think if it's possible right now, if you go onto one of those artificial intelligence or animation sites, and you write something like, have you ever seen those videos where they say humans eating pizza ad? If you look into that, you'll see that just by text, they can generate a full commercial. Granted, it's not nearly close to what humans can provide. It looks like a horror movie if you ever seen those animations. But the fact is that these things are possible today. So I really enjoyed the first episode because it was a dystopian future. It is something that can be, can come to fruition if we reach that technology. Now, the thing about privacy is that is very insane. In fact, just a few days ago, I booked an engineer to come to my house, and there was like terms and conditions, and it was very hard for me to try to convince them, look, you didn't provide the service that I asked for, and then they said, look, it's in the terms and conditions, and I had to cut my losses and just accept what they were talking about because of terms and conditions. So I like that first episode, and that's the episode that stood out the most, and that's the one I really enjoyed. And then we went to the second episode, which is Loch Henry. So Loch Henry is a very interesting take on Scottish township or whatever. But the thing I didn't like about that is because it started going into like this American Hollywood produced type of series. But still, Loch Henry was a very interesting concept, because it was kind of like one of those things that it scares you. If you go to like a foreign place and you are away from town and Wi-Fi and all of the big city benefits that you have, it is quite scary because you don't know what could happen. Like police force is less than in the main city, of course. And this is a story about like tourists that were disappearing, and it was just because one guy was torturing them. The plot twist was that the police officer, father of the main character, was the one who was helping them, and the mother was there also being very kinky with it. So it was a very interesting story. The acting was good. It was a little bit monotonous. If you don't like dramas, I don't think you would enjoy this one too much, because it wasn't neither dark nor exciting until the last few minutes. The plot twist was the payoff, payoff or payout of the whole episode, and the takeaway from that was not really futuristic. It was just somber and dark, I guess. So it wasn't really futuristic. It didn't have anything to do with dystopian future. It was just kind of like a shock value episode, which was okay. I guess I like the acting. The mother had very good acting skills, and then they also obviously killed off the American girl. I don't know why, but anyways, so I would let's rate these. Episode 1 I would give an, I don't know, 4 out of 5. Episode 2. I would give a 3 out of 5. And then we had Beyond the Sea, which has one of my favorite actors because of Breaking Bad, which is Aaron Paul. And it has also kind of like a comeback from Josh Hartnett, which in fact it isn't his comeback, but you know, it's he's been doing other stuff also. And I really enjoyed the fact that Josh Hartnett was a very he was a very friendly and relatable character from the beginning, and Aaron Paul was like painted out to be like this villain, this kind of like arrogant guy who, you know, it was interesting because Aaron Paul is a fantastic actor. And what I liked about this episode is that it was merciless. You know, it had impact. The very first scene, you see Josh Hartnett, which is this loving character, loving person, gets his whole family killed, just like that. And no mercy. Although he could have called the police, right? I mean, who goes downstairs and doesn't call the police? You know, he could have called the police immediately. And for a robot, you know, he could have been trained to protect his family. I don't know. And also, many people were saying, why didn't the robot go up in space rather than the human go up in space and leave the robot body on Earth? Which is crazy. But this is a little bit more in line with what we are expecting from Black Mirror because of the dystopian future. Imagine a future where you can transfer your consciousness into the body of you know, a robot here on Earth, so that you can do long distance traveling or work. So I really enjoyed that idea also, but it also was a little bit monotonous. I think it was suspenseful, but it could have had a faster pace. It could have been more suspenseful. The acting was great. As I said, Josh Hartnett, you know, great actor. I really love him from Pearl Harbor back in the day. And he was the heartthrob of the, you know, of that era. And he came back with fantastic acting. Aaron Paul also great actor since Breaking Bad. He's very dedicated. And it's very interesting to see what they did with this episode. The plot twist at the end was it expected? You know, when you expect something but you say, I don't think they're gonna go there. You know, I thought he was gonna do exactly what they tried to make us believe. I was predicting that they would be predictable by leaving Aaron Paul outside the ship so that Josh Hartnett can go back and stay with his family and wife and whatever. But obviously she would notice and blah, blah, blah. So there are implications with that alternative ending. But the fact is that they tried to trick us into that, thinking that was going to happen. And I was like, oh, this is going to be so predictable. I called it from the beginning. And that slight detour, is what got me with the plot twist that actually, which is actually the ending of that episode. I think the fact that it ended that way was insanely bold. I think they went a route which was crazy to do, and that's why I love it, because we love the unexpected. It's always about the happy ending. You know, people are happy when there's a happy ending, but I think this one didn't have a happy ending, and I think that's what makes it so shocking. And I love shock value in series, but it is crazy to think that somebody would allow their friend to be in their body. I don't know if you've thought of it in that way, in that sense. Would you trust somebody enough to be in your body, to have your face, your voice? Would you? That's something that you need to think about in this episode. I enjoyed this episode mostly because of the acting, mostly because of the shock value, but I think it was too long. if they had cut out a few scenes, it would be perfect. I think it was just too long in my perspective. But I did enjoy this one more than Lock Henry, so I think I would give this one a 3.5 out of 5. Then we have Maisie Day, which is, I think, the worst episode from this. Really, I did not enjoy it at all because I thought it had no essence and it had no place in the Black Mirror. I read an article saying that the director, the creator of Black Mirror, mentioned that Black Mirror was never about technology is bad. And maybe I agree with, it's not about technology being bad, but it's about, the dystopian future, or, how technology could be invasive in our lives. I think that's the dark, that's what called my attention when I saw that. There are so many great episodes about Black Mirror, and I think it is a criticism to our social lives and our current lives, the way we are living life. So I really enjoyed the first episode of season 6 because of that, because of terms and conditions and the way things are going. So it's kind of like a satire, a dark satire, and in the earlier seasons that was really predominant, and it was a dystopian future, something that we are seeing the initial stages now, and it's something that could happen in the future, which is not entirely exaggerated. So it's not much about technology being bad, it's just about how we are allowing ourselves to accept these terms without even thinking of the consequences. So I think that's what Black Mirror is all about. It is the true, or it's a convincing depiction of what the future could be like if we keep going down this dark road. So what I hated about Maisie Day is the fact that it didn't really have a takeaway for me. Like, what is the takeaway? That paparazzi will stop at nothing? I mean, that would be a good story, a good ending. But I think the idea here was that it was so absurd that I think it had a message in itself, but it wasn't Black Mirror. I don't think it had anything to do with Black Mirror. But I really liked the fact that they were trying to show that paparazzis would do anything for that picture. The way that it ended with her not thinking twice and taking a picture of the lady, shooting herself, that was the shock value. We were like, okay, wow, yeah, even though she had a conscience, she is still a paparazzi, and it's hard. It's hard to lose that that habit, and she still got her money shot. But the other parts, the lady became a werewolf, and the whole idea, like she ran somebody over. I think the whole pace was really, really, it was boring for one. It didn't have the essence of Black Mirror, and it kind of reminded me of the other episode, I think was season 4 or season 5, which was the black and white episode, which had nothing to do with Black Mirror either. But I think the whole Maisie Day thing was a mistake. I don't know. I think that's what people most hated, because it had nothing to do with Black Mirror. If it was like another series, maybe okay, but still, like, a werewolf, where did that come from? Like, why? How? Anyways, and the last episode was Demon 79, which, again, I think that episode, Demon 79, would be more close to like Atlanta than Black Mirror because of the absurd nature of it. I don't think there was a takeaway with that either. I know that many people enjoyed it, and I still don't think it had the essence of Black Mirror. Did I give a rating for Maisie Day. I'll give it a 1.5. Maybe 2 for the acting, but okay. But Demon 79 was I'd give it a 2.5 because of the interesting topic that it was kind of like trying to go to go about. I thought she was schizophrenic. I thought she was you know, imagining things so that she could give herself an excuse to do all the evil thoughts that she had, and they actually made us think that throughout the like throughout the episode and like towards the end also. But then at the end, what she was saying actually was real, and it kind of like, I don't feel like there was a takeaway. I don't think there was something that I could relate to it. And I think the whole thing about Black Mirror is relatability. I think if you don't relate to it, if you're not scared that this could actually happen to you, I don't think it's Black Mirror. Because Black Mirror, like in the early seasons, you would watch it and you would be like, you know, staring at the wall thinking, bro, I need to be very careful with, you know, with everything, with my phone, like I'm being watched, stuff like that. Like the first episode did. From now on, everybody's going to read terms and conditions to see if that, if there's nothing that they're sharing that can go public, right? But anyways, guys, I think all in all, it was a good season. I just wish that all episodes were like the first one. You know, they went full out for the first episode. Now, I don't know if this is something I enjoy or don't enjoy. The fact that they are bringing famous actors and Hollywood actors to Black Mirror, which was, you know, supposed to be like it began like a series with British actors, anonymous actors. You know what I'm saying? I don't know if Hollywood coming in and bringing star power is the best. I don't know if I like that too much, but I don't know if I hate it, you know. But that's it, guys. That's all I wanted to say about Black Mirror. I don't think there's anything else I wanted to talk about. Let me know your thoughts in the comments down below, and did you enjoy it? Let me know the ratings of the episodes, and I'll see you in the next video. Let me know what I should talk to you about next. Take care, guys. Bye bye. Now you can get full access to exclusive content, special reactions to shows, series, anime, full movies, and even request a video of your choice. Just become a YouTube member or join Buy Me a Coffee today. Find out more, the link is in the description. Never break, always fight, never quit, do it right, play the game.